Hey, good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. Let's figure out how to do this. I think this will work. Can you hear me now? Kind of want to go in a couple different directions this morning. Might be good to get the camera adjusted. All right. Words. The power of words. Controlling the dialogue. Civil war. Yeah. Somebody famous said something along the lines of, if we're going to have a discussion, let us first define our terms. Something. Words to that effect. When I say freedom and you say freedom, it might not mean the same thing. Trigger words. Trump said two things recently. I think they were both in tweets, which, by the way, is just brilliant, right? I mean, the media tries to control we the people's access to information and only show us what they want to show us. And Trump short circuits that by going through Twitter directly to the people. But he said, he was quoting somebody else, and he said an impeachment would bring about civil war-like fracture in the U.S. society. Again, words to that effect. And then he said the other day something along the lines of, this isn't an attempted impeachment, this is a coup, and they're trying to go against the will of the people. Which I said it first in my rant, right? But in both of those instances where he mentioned the words civil war and coup, the left went into their selective outrage, right? Oh, he's saying civil war. He's bringing about violence. Words bring violence. Words are violence. That right there is worth impeaching him for, just uttering it. Do you see how they're trying to control the words? It will bring about civil war-like fractures in this country. It will. And it is an attempted coup. A coup is replacing a duly positioned person in authority by means, that aren't regular. Somebody's in position, we're going to overthrow him. That's a coup. And that's exactly what's happening. And it's not just the left. I know I'm using those terms because, again, I'm as vulnerable to everybody else at being played by words. It's basically the globalist against we the people. And the globalists have many forms. So they're trying to control your words. And I said this long ago, before I was on YouTube, when political correctness came about. Political correctness was all in the things you could and couldn't say. You can't say that. Why not? The reason that there's political correctness, which is to get you to not say certain things, which freedom of speech, let's be clear in our speech to each other, right? But the reason there's political correctness and getting you not to say things is because once you stop saying them, you'll stop thinking them, or you'll think differently. You can't say retarded anymore. You have to say mentally challenged or something like that. Retarded is considered politically incorrect. Well, retarded comes from retarded mental development. That's what it comes from. You can't say short. You have to say height challenged, and that's a joke, right? But I mean, really, that's where it's going. And so, to a large degree, I have the freedom of not having to be politically correct. Sometimes I say things that are politically incorrect exactly for the now shock value. It shouldn't be a shock value, but exactly for it. But like I said, I have the freedom because I don't really have a job, right, to get fired from. I just saw some teacher somewhere. I saw the headline. I didn't read the article. I'm disgusted with all that stuff. Excuse me. I saw some teacher got fired because she refused to use the whatever pronoun her student wanted her to use, which that whole thing is just ridiculous. And I'm not going to turn this into a rant. He, she. Do you have a Y chromosome or do you not? Simple. But she said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to call you whatever the person wanted to be called. Again, I didn't read the article. And so she got fired. Now she's suing. But they're trying to control the speech. And they is in the main the leftists who have the media in the main wrapped around their little finger, and they all parrot the party line, and they're all against Trump, and they all want Trump out. HBO evidently has some kind of show coming out about a second civil war in America based on some graphic novel thing, which I clearly haven't read. I don't read comic books. Oh, Pastor Joe, you should try the graphic novels. No, I don't read comic books. Thank you. It'll be twisted, right? So I probably won't watch it. Well, I don't have a TV, so I won't watch it anyway. Civil War. So this is what I was thinking. It might be, I hope it's not, but it could be valuable to ponder what a civil war would look like for real in your area, not in America. Who cares about America at that point? When the world is crashing down around you and the waves are hitting the rocks right outside your door, what you're concerned about is you and yours, right? What would civil war look like where you are? I don't know. I haven't given this thought yet, so I'm not going to pontificate on it. But it won't all be one-sided. I've said that before over and over again. In civil wars, chunks of the military, chunks of the security apparatus go to both sides. And civil wars are terrible. They're terrible. Nobody wants a civil war. I'm telling you. They're just awful. When it says in the Bible, they're asking Yeshua, Jesus, when will these things be? And he gives them some signs. That's when he talks about earthquakes in diverse places. You've been watching that, right? Could just be that they're reporting it a lot more. But like there were a bunch in the Boot Heel, there were a bunch in Texas, there were a bunch in California. It could be that there's always a bunch. They just report it and I saw it. But there shall be earthquakes in diverse places. And what he also said was that there will be wars and rumors of wars. Nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And nation against nation is ethnos against ethnos. And so it could be looked at as race war. One ethnos, one more coffee is indicated. One ethnic group against another ethnic group. It could also be one ethnos against ethnos could be, because back then kingdoms were by and large ethnically homogenous. Japan, right? There's not a whole lot of non-Japanese in Japan. What's an American look like? I used to know what an American looked like, but now, right? What's a Japanese look like? Ethnically homogenous. And so ethnos against ethnos was really civil war too, right? And so civil wars are civil wars have been around. They're going on now. Ask the Sudanese. But so it was foretold. And kingdom against kingdom is country against country. What would that look like where you are? How would that affect you? I'll tell you right now, goods and services are going to go brrr. Whatever government is in power is going to enact measures according to American way of thinking of liberty, horrible measures to keep a lid on this thing, to control it. And I was thinking about that this morning too. All governments have a duty. Boy, we could argue this one too. And I reserve the right to amend my remarks. But they basically have a duty to maintain order in their citizenry, right? In their realm, right? We can't have bandits running around now. Clearly the Democrat governments of Chicago, Detroit, and Baltimore are failing miserably at maintaining order. Well, yeah, no kidding. But that was a weird sound. But they have a duty to maintain order. We can't have people running around killing each other. And if you have a civil war, they're doing it in large numbers. And so they're going to do whatever they think they have to do to maintain order. So even if it's again, I'm going to use this paradigm, which is really a false paradigm, but the right Trumponians, whatever, Trump people are in power at the federal government and a civil war starts, you're still going to hate the rules that come down. If the left's in power and the civil war happens, you're going to hate the rules that come down. They're not going to be good. And so things are going to be miserable. One, what are you going to do about it? Two, what can you do about it now that will mitigate anything coming your way, that you foresee coming your way? And three, we're getting close to being able to use this talk as a way of promoting preparedness with people who don't quite get it yet. All the truck drivers go on strike. They're going to bring this country to its knees quickly, right? Man, talk around the office cooler. It might be a good idea to have some extra rice and beans stored out in the garage, right? Have some water put aside. Services are being disrupted by one, violent faction or another. The water's not working anymore. So it might be good to start thinking about that. And then finally, for today, because we're going long enough, I have long said that this country, the powers that be in this country, Republican and Democrat, it's been going on for a while, administrations, are preparing to fight a counterinsurgency. I'm trained in counterinsurgency. I'm trained in insurgency. If you know how to do one, you know how to do the other. You got to understand the concepts, right? It's concepts of insurgency, so this is how you counter it. And amongst those concepts, principles, if you will, of counterinsurgency, the fight is not about AR-15s and AK-47s and car bombs. The fight is for the hearts and minds of the people. And I know that has been, bantied about and diluted and whatever, but you're fighting for the will of the people, because all people end up with the government they deserve and they tolerate. Hitler could not have been in power if every German said no. But they didn't. They went along with it. And so you're trying to get the will of the people. Now, there's a lot of ways to do that. I mean, one way is just to make your people idiots. Have you seen that movie? Is it called Idiocracy? It's probably not a movie, as I think back on it, that a pastor should recommend. But man, there's some truth in that movie. And I think it's called Idiocracy. But if you make the people stupid and